What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at the Gramercy Theater. We just wrapped up an awesome interview with Chrissy, and now we are here with Cattle Decapitation. We return with Josh. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. So it's been a hell of a crazy tour and everything, and I normally save this question for the last, but I'm just going to ask you now this first. When the fuck are we getting this awesome follow-up to the Anthropocene Extinction?
Most likely, barring any unforeseen circumstances, probably, I don't want to say probably, but it's scheduled for next fall. I know that's a long time, but we're recording beginning of April, and that'll probably take a month and a half. And then there's this window of manufacture time for vinyl, CDs, and just all the associated promotion and stuff that causes that sort of gap between
Cassettes,
delivery.
too?
I don't know this time. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I was fine with it. You know, I have a lovely cassette player that I bought right before, right as the format was, I don't want to say dying, but, its initial loss in popularity. That is a beautiful, basically brand new Pioneer double cassette deck that I haven't been able to use as much. So
Awesome.
I need to start, getting more cassette stuff.
Yeah. But what I was always curious about with Cattle Decapitation is you guys definitely have a sound that really defines you guys. So do you prefer to stick with a formula with making new music, or do you like to experiment with your sound a little bit?
I think with every one of our records, with each one of them, you can... There's certain elements you'll see peek through, like, oh, what's that they did there on those couple songs? And it's funny, those are like previews, not intentional, but just stuff that we like kind of flesh out to finally kind of incorporate in a more thorough manner for the record following. So, as far as formula stuff goes, I think we know kind of what works for us and what we operate within, but we're always trying to like have for each newer record a certain different new element that's like, oh, that's a little more explored or, properly fleshed out, creative sort of aspect. Like for the next thing, I can say there's going to be a lot more atmospheric elements.
Awesome.
And I don't necessarily mean like, plotting, there'll be some of that, I'm sure, but like just in the string section, a lot more atmospheric guitars with like more layering and, maybe sort of melodies or like sort of maybe abstract kind of shifting sort of melodic elements on top with the more just buzzsaw-y, just bottom to it.
That's awesome, because I always thought that your music is very technical, so to bring in like an atmospheric element into it is going to be pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what I was alluding to is like there's this, we've done that the past couple records. It's been there, but a couple people like our engineer producer Dave Otero, who's done the past couple records for us, he'd mentioned in the past, he's like, man, I really, really like those atmospheric elements, and I want you to like try to, or not want, but he's like, it would be cool if you would explore those more, and kind of incorporate that in the music. He goes, I think you could be really successful getting that, put into your songwriting.
Yeah, it's cool that you have like, because from listening to you guys, and then when I heard a song like "Mammals of Babylon," which I have yet to hear you play live, and it's driving me nuts.
Well, we've played it live. Like the first tour cycle for Anthro, for like 2015 and 2016, we played it like almost every show.
I didn't hear you play it at the Brujeria
and then
we
stopped.
Yeah.
And that was not because it's like I'm sick of this song, because there's songs we've played for years that we should be sick of, and we are sick of. But that I think was we were like, oh, we need to place it in a different part of the set, because where it's at right now, it's I don't want to say it's not working. It wasn't that it wasn't working as a song. It was more like someone's like, oh, I can't do this at this point in time. I need to have it here. And so he's like, well, you know what? Let's just take it out for now. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
And kick it down the road a couple years and like, oh crap, because it's fun to play.
Yeah.
It's got that middle part that's all fist pumpy, and then the super swirly kind of.
And those clean vocals that are just so like catchy but eerie at the same time. Mm-hmm. But what I've always was curious about with Cattle Decapitation is that it seems like your albums are fairly conceptual. Do you like think of these concepts and that determines the music as a whole, or do you have to throw a couple riffs down and get a couple songs together before you develop this concept?
I think Travis usually has all the like lyrical content and the atmosphere of like the artwork and all the visual stuff. That's his baby. He comes up with that. Music wise, he may suggest like depending where we're at on the record, like how many songs in, he may say like, oh, not that it directly, associated with the artwork or any of the concept behind it, but it's like, oh, I'd like to hear this type of song. I guess it feels like it would complete the record to me, to kind of go with this whole sort of greater vision he has. So it's not necessarily him dictating it all, oh, we got 3 rockers, time to do some expansive song, oh, we need more blast or less blast, or any of that stuff. It's more just, we kind of come into the music portion, and usually halfway to 2/3 of the way through, he might say, oh, maybe we could have like a more epic, spacious song. So I think it's more of like his overall mood in coming with the record, regardless if it has to do with lyrics or artwork or anything like that. So I'm trying to say there's a slight connection, but not really a concerted association of the two.
So it's fair to say your music is also very open to interpretation. You don't try to like tell the listener this is what we're saying. Right?
Yeah, I think both musically and I think lyrically. I mean, some of the stuff is very like blatant, like here's what's happening in the music and everything like that. But yeah, there's certain things that can be definitely open for interpretation, I believe.
Which is awesome, and I think that because sometimes somebody just walked in front of.
Yeah, it's our sound guy.
Oh, that's your sound guy?
Yeah. I was like, okay.
It happens. It actually happened once before in this room when I was interviewing
I'm
Good
sure,
Tiger.
because it's like if with everyone sharing, or most everyone sharing one room, and there's like, everyone's got their belongings and stuff. Usually someone's, if they're playing, they're like, I need my drumsticks, or I need whatever. And so
I got to remember to leave beers by the door.
Oh, yeah. So,
yeah. Now, one other question I was really curious about is the last time I saw you guys, you were playing with Revocation, and you're playing with Suffocation now. Fairly similar audience, but then you played with a band like Mayhem, and then you played with a band like Brujeria. So like, was there ever a different reaction depending on what tour you were on?
Well, going back to Mayhem, that was in 2009. It was Mayhem. Marduk was supposed to be on that, but they had visa issues. It was Fallout Carnage and Withered that was on that tour.
Wow.
Which, I mean, that's obviously aside from, in the onset when they were booking it, there's Mayhem and Marduk, and then there's the rest of us. Withered has, at the time, has some black metal elements, a little more doom stuff here and there at, that time period of their band. But it was really kind of like these 2 black metal guys and then this sort of mixed bag. Us and Cephalic totally, can do stuff together. We have, musically it works. And Withered is, awesome in their own right, but doesn't necessarily sound like either one of us. So the rest of us were just kind of going, I hope it's going to be a bunch of diehard, Mayhem fans. Regardless of us, myself really liking Mayhem and Marduk too. What's this going to be like, as far as response? But I felt we did pretty well, and kind of, I don't want to say win people over, because I don't think it was this, thing where we're like every night sort of, oh man, we got to win over these guys. But just like people reacted a lot more positively than we were expecting to.
Yeah, well, I think you have elements that could appeal to black metal fans, and
absolutely.
You said you're bringing in more atmospheric elements, and black metal is as atmospheric as it gets.
Yeah.
So maybe you could do another tour with Mayhem.
Yeah, I'd be down. And then with those other tours like Brujeria, we've known them for years. That's one of Travis's all-time favorite bands.
Awesome.
Keeps close contact with Juan Brujo, and we've known those guys forever, both in Brujeria context and their other bands. So that was just kind of made sense for us. And it was a fun thing. We were about, at that point, 1/3 of the way through the cycle, so that was another, just, we need to do another U.S. tour. And then the one last fall, that was, we thought that was going to be our last big tour of this cycle, because we're like, we're going out with a bang, do a headliner with Revo and Artificial Brain and Full of Hell. And it ended up being, we're offered that Australia, New Zealand thing, and that's in January, February. We can do that? Yeah, of course. Why would we not do Australia, New Zealand?
And then
it's
you get offered a show.
And then it's just these little things, like trickling in, like a lot of flying, like festival stuff, a bunch of Canada stuff, all sorts of things that, we're like, oh man, it's just a couple days, And as you're trying to write this record, and now with Dave living in Seattle, so he flies down once a month for these long weekend writing sessions. So we got to, account for that time. And then there's all these little shows peppered through that, we're like, it's just one show, whatever. And then you do that like 10 times.
Yeah.
But then we had, beginning of October, we had the offer before this, obviously, but we did Japan, beginning of October, like 4 shows. So it's like, well, why are we going to say no to that,
Yeah.
But then prior to that, Suffoed asked us, like, we're doing Frank's last tour, I'd like you guys to be on it. So we're like,
how could you say no?
We'd love to do that, but man, we need to write. So it was just this kind of discussion of, well, got to write on the road, which that's been minimally successful. But we have gotten some stuff done. So, and what it is, it's good. So
Awesome.
that just means we'll have to work that much harder when we get home, which I'm sure we'll be really ready to do as soon as we get home.
I mean, I think that although in the end speaks for how great the Anthropocene Extinction is and how much of a successful record it is. I mean, like, I remember like looking at like the top lists for that record, and you guys are right next to like Iron Maiden, and you guys are right next to like bands like Napalm Death and what other records came out that year. Like you get the idea.
Oh no, thank you. And I feel that we've done enough touring for this record. Here it is. The record Anthro came out in like what? August 2015.
July
2015.
July 23rd, 2015.
Yeah, there we go. And then here it is, November 17th, 2018.
16th.
16th today?
Yeah.
Yeah, 17th tomorrow. Yeah. November 16, 2018. So, here we are. So we've definitely it's gotten its useful life, put out there. So, I don't know. Hopefully we'll get home from this and, probably sit around and stare at the wall for a couple weeks and then be like, guess what we got to do?
Yep.
Continue writing. So,
but then you're going to get an offer with a band like Metallica.
I don't know. Well, April 1, we got that deadline. So, and we don't want to push it back because we'd like to have it out, fall and be on the road, starting like preemptive of the release, maybe late summer.
Awesome. So, I would like to thank you so much for your time. Just before we go, is there just any shout-outs you'd like to give or anything else you would like to promote other than the new record?
Well, we got... If you're not already down here for Gramercy, I think it's already sold out.
Yeah.
There's one more show tomorrow in Reading, Pennsylvania, so if you want to get you're panicked and you missed one of the other shows, you can last second get on a flight or get in your car and come see Frank's last hurrah with the band. So, yeah, I mean, just we have remind me here. We have a Rarities and BSides compilation record coming out here in, I think, less than 10 days. And it's basically bonus tracks, demo stuff, split 7-inch tracks for the entire history of the band. So there's like practice tapes, like boombox in the center of the room from like 1997, maybe 96, I don't know. And then all the way up through our bonus tracks from Anthro. So
wow,
it's just 23 songs.
You ever worried that any of those songs you scrapped are just going to end up being like the biggest hit you guys ever had?
Oh, there's people all the time that, like, for B-side stuff that, I mean, it doesn't mean the song is like, this throwaway. It just means like, for say that release, it's like, for whatever reason the flow didn't fit with the other songs. It doesn't mean it's, like a throwaway song, but we've had a lot of people say like, why did you not put that on whatever record it is associated with? Like, I love that song. It would have worked better than blah, blah, blah that's on the record. So, we did the best we could at the time as far as determining what would be a good flow for the album. So, yeah, there's all the bonus tracks, split 7-inch with K9S, the one-sided Spanish language 7-inch we did, like, that was before I was in the band, so that was like 99, 2000.
Wow.
And, yeah, like practice recordings and all this sort of stuff.
Awesome.
That's like literally, I think those practice recording are just when Travis was playing guitar, the original drummer was playing bass, and the original guitar player was playing drums. So it's kind of like, what? But yeah, it's that the 10 Torments of the Damned. It's actually not that lineup. It's the next lineup because they recorded immediately. The 10 Torments of the Damned is like, we're putting something out. Scott Miller, the original guy, was guitar player, singer, gone. Then came in Travis, completing that lineup, and then for the first few years, it was that lineup, only with Travis on vocals, the guy playing drums switched to guitar, and the guy playing bass switched to drums. It's confusing, I know. So yeah,
Do you smell smoke? It's coming out of like my ear.
Yeah, I know. It gets kind of convoluted at times.
You should lecture that to the audience, and then all smoke will come out of the ears. It'll save you a
we'll
fortune on the fog machine.
We'll do a quiz at the end, and if they can properly discern, who was with what lineup at what time period and what they played. Maybe they'll get a free coupon for something later. I don't know. But yeah.
You got some diehard fans here, so they could probably get it all right.
Yeah. So that's the other bit of news that's coming out, called Medium Rarities, and once again, Wes Bunsko did the cover art. So it's this really appetizing looking like kind of chunk of someone's face that's just in a frying pan on top of an old range. So it's
I gotta say your album covers make Cannibal Corpse like album covers look like Picasso.
Well, this recent one, I mean, it is a Ben Scoter piece, and he's done all of our like Metal Blade era album covers. It's not, and this is by no means any sort of slight on that artwork, but it's not something we'd have for this is our new album proper.
Yeah.
But it works absolutely perfectly for this, and it looks great on T-shirts, and yeah, so it's another one of his pieces that's just awesome, you know. But the next record, Travis has chatted with him about his concept of the title, working title, hopefully the forever title, and then just the artwork for it. And Wes is doing something he hasn't done for us before, you know, and he's excited about it. We're excited about it, and it should look amazing.
Awesome. Well, we're definitely looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Josh, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody, Josh of Cattle Decapitation, pick up their new record featuring a bunch of B-sides from all the early days, and be sure to be on the lookout for new Cattle Decapitation coming soon. We'll see you next time on Heavy New York, everybody.
See ya.